Wildcat basketball is off to a great start, and we want to keep that momentum going.
And to that end, Zach Clark with ESPN Tucson is here to talk about holiday sports and the Wildcats in general.
Yeah, and plus, what better time than to talk about sports around the holidays?
Yeah.
People are off on vacation. 39 bowl games are already underway.
Oh, yeah.
Some of them, at least.
The bowl games.
Well, some of my fondest memories of holidays is gathered around the television, around the fireplace, watching the games.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and that starts really on Thanksgiving with NFL football and goes through Christmas. Christmas is more of an NBA day, but I think just the holiday, this stretch itself with the beginning of college football, with it being the most exciting time in the NFL, certainly college basketball, football. So you really have a lot going on all at once, and a lot of it is really meaningful, and I think that's also what adds to. You talk to Rich Rodriguez, and he's right. He always says meaningful football is the best football, and that's true in sports. Period. You want it to count. You want it to mean something. And at the beginning of the season, you don't know what it's going to mean. At the end of the season, everything is very clearly defined. Look at the Cardinals last night.
Oh,
we knew what that.
Let's not talk about
but we knew what that meant, though. That if they would have won that game, they'd have been able to secure a first-round bye, home for the advantage in the playoffs. And instead, I mean, they were hammered.
Man, Facebook was really sad last night because everybody was just bummed.
Well, the Cardinals have been able to rest on their defense all season long, and 2 of the last 3 games, and they've lost 2 out of the last of those 3. They've given up at least 500 yards of total offense on the other side of the ball, and with their offense being as depleted as it is, down to their third-string quarterback, Ryan Lindley, who has now lengthened his distinction of throwing the most NFL passes without a touchdown pass. And that streak has continued through yesterday.
But we were doing awesome with what we had.
The Cardinals still, with what they have, are doing fantastic.
Yes.
Because there's only can be so much expectation when you have so much taken away.
Yeah, but we love that story in any sport, any team.
Oh, yeah.
You know, that kind of, we still rise up. And,
right, the not down and out, win one for the Gifford type. Yeah, and I think that really has been part of the Cardinals' story when they were winning. Because then that's a great story.
Yeah.
Now that they've kind of taken a downturn the last few weeks, now the story is a little bit harder to tell. But look, Week 17 in San Francisco, if they get a little help and the Seahawks lose their last game and the Cardinals can win their last game, they can still win the division. And they're still in the playoffs no matter what.
Right.
So even though it's disappointing that, because anytime, because we say, oh, it's still a great season. But when you watch something like that, the same is true with Arizona in the Pac-12 championship game. It didn't take away what a great season it was, but the next day you're sitting there going,
I know.
what do I do? Where do we go? And so I think in a couple of days, with the Cardinals especially, the loss will, at least the sting will subside.
Yeah.
And then you can start to, refocus on the positive. But I don't blame people for being upset today. They should be.
Oh, yeah.
I saw a little bit of that too. And Tina, I didn't know you were such a sports girl.
Well, you know what?
Don't hammering me over here.
Well, no. The Cardinals, you know what? When it's one of those teams, like you love them when they're not doing, their season isn't so awesome, but they always get that season where they just pump you back up.
Yeah.
And I have several of my friends that are traveling to San Francisco for the game.
Sure, that's a huge game.
Yes, there's a lot of people that are riding a lot on that.
Yeah.
It should be good. And how about a little close to home? How the Wildcats in terms of basketball been doing?
So on the basketball court, they were on the road, University of Texas El Paso on Friday, and that game was a little bit closer than I think most people expected. They won by 5, though down later on in that second half. Arizona didn't seem to struggle because of the road environment, though it was a very hostile crowd. In fact, I think that was the first sellout at UTEP in, 5 or 6 years. It's been a while since they've sold that building out. But Arizona seems to, at times, lapse back into problems they had a year ago earlier in the season. We saw them earlier this year bring up that free throw percentage, which was a big problem last year. But then you see them regress the last couple of games that they've played this year. I mean, going 50% from the line or worse is really, you may get away with it against the UTEP. You get into Pac-12 play, into the tournament when you're a single elimination contest, it's going to be more difficult that way. And they only had 6 bench points against UTEP, so that's a little disconcerting. But as we move forward, I think Arizona, they're in great shape. They're the only team in the country to start the last 3 years 12-0. They haven't lost a non-conference game since 2011. And as they go into conference play, you look at Washington's played better, Utah's been great, but the rest of the conference, I'm not all that impressed. So I think that there's going to be some stiff competition, but I think Arizona's probably already seen most of it. I think the Gonzaga game's still going to be the hardest one they play in the regular season all year long.
All right, well, we are talking about them. Basketball on the road. I know they're going to be in LV tomorrow. Let's go Fiesta Bowl.
Yeah. Boise State, matter of fact, I just talked with their football beat writer up in Idaho, and I think this is going to be a great game. A lot of folks are a little down on the whole concept. They like the Fiesta Bowl, but the Boise State, it bothers people that they think that Arizona should have drawn a bigger opponent, a better opponent. Arizona fans feel snubbed. And I don't think that's true. You look at Boise State, they've won the Fiesta Bowl twice. Arizona, and don't get me wrong, Arizona deserves to be where they are, but they ride it on this high and mighty horse, and Arizona's never won a Fiesta Bowl. Or they haven't won since 1994.
94?
94 with Teddy Bruschi, Desert Swarm. But since then, Boise's won it twice, and Arizona's come up not even there. So people just need to keep in perspective who Boise is and who Arizona is. Arizona's enjoyed a lot of success on the football field this season, but that long tradition still not there. But Arizona can go a long way to win this game and to begin to build that tradition. I think this season, with and probably without a Fiesta Bowl win as well, just a giant building block going forward for the future of this program.
Well, I love Arizona New Year's Eve Fiesta Bowl time.
Yeah.
I love that field.
2 o'clock.
We'll see how the boys will do.
Looking forward to it.
Always so nice to have
I love
you
it.
here.
I love that sweater.
I appreciate
I'm stoking the
Finally,
fire.
Somebody who can appreciate this sweater.
Because it's got golf on it.
Yeah, it's a sports thing,
Get
right?
it,
Yeah.
Get it.
I get it. I like it.
You can listen to Zach talk even some more sports on weekday afternoons from 3 to 6 p.m. on ESPN Tucson on 1490 and 104.9 FM.